Hey, yo, what is up, my faux shizzlers? It's your boy, FizzleTheHizzle, aka Ben here, bringing you guys a WPL draft analysis, take two, for your Tampa Bay Buizels. I'm actually in a live comm with my good buddy and pal and friendo, Chesbentu. This is your time to say
Aren't you
hi.
bad?
I am
Aren't you
bad
bad?
indeed, and I drafted like a really bad draft. I'm sorry, it's like really bad. Easily bottom one, in my opinion.
I've never seen a worse draft personally.
Yeah, I'd have
I
to agree.
personally I can't relate to being bad, but
Yeah, for sure.
it's just a bad draft, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. So, just to run down the team or the league in general, my buddy Sohan, aka OP Jellison, he's actually the commissioner for the WPL, the Western Pokemon League, in season 7, I believe. And he's a commissioner, and he basically invited me and Chess to join this league. So I'm here now. As you can see on your screen, it's tiers. So you pick tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. You pick 2 tier 3s. Tier 4, Tier 5, a Mega Pokemon, and you have 400 free points to pick 4 Fremons, and your Mega affects how many points you have as well. And you have 3 Z Crystal users, so that's just general stuff to get out of the way. Now, actually, I had a pretty solid spot in this draft. I believe I was number 4 in the order, so I wanted to try a couple new things here, but the first 3 picks ahead of me, or before me, they drafted like Coco and usual stuff like Kieran Black, the stuff that would usually go like first 4 picks, first 3 picks rather. But I actually ended up with probably the best mon in the format in Celesteela. What are your thoughts on Celesteela, Chessben2?
It's like it's pretty much the best mod in the format. It's stupidly versatile. Like it's so good offensively and defensively. Like it's super annoying to break, and if it's a sweeper set, it can just like straight up sweep team 6-0.
Yeah, for
Like
sure. Like you set up with an autotomize and you Z something, like that's just GG.
yeah, it's terrifying to prep for because it's basically like prepping for 4 mons, like a special wall, a physical wall, a special sweeper, and a physical sweeper, like all in one.
Yeah, and its
It's
coverage is
crazy.
like really good to be a sweeper too. It has like all sorts of coverage on both sides of the spectrum as well.
hmm It's like it has really good mixed bulk and mixed attacking stats. Like it's about an average of like 100 in all the stats, other than speed, which is like 60. But with an autotomize, that gets really fast.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
it can become like really hard to stop.
Yeah, the only thing
Like
that really is lacking for this mon is like the lack of decent recovery, like Rooster Recover. So it has to rely on like leftovers and like Leech Seed and Giga Drain for its only form of recovery rather. So it's a bit unfortunate, but we do patch that up kind of in the later rounds. So yeah, man, I'm excited to use Celesteela, especially with a Z Crystal. It's gonna be super dope.
yeah, and usually like with leftovers and protect and leech seed, it's usually like enough recovery to like it'll just stay around on the field for forever. And especially if you're a wall, if you get a kill with it, which like since it's so heavy, heavy slam will be doing a lot even without investment. Like if you get a kill, you just boost your defenses because like beast boost is such a broken ability.
It really is. So for my second pick, I actually wanted something that would, how do you call it? Like synergize well with Celesteela and the Mega that I was planning to take. So our second pick in the draft, we're dipping down to tier 2 and picking up Hydreigon, Orochimaru, the shiny Hydreigon. And it's our Super Z Crystal user, or Z Captain, whatever you want to call it. So we can use both status and attacking Z moves. Now, I'm not going to reveal what status Z moves this thing may have, just in case somebody watches this back and kind of knows what set I'm bringing. So, what are your thoughts on like Hydreigon in general, man?
It just hits hard. Like it's hard to switch into. Like with a life orb, nothing wants to eat Dracos or like dark pulses from this. Like the only thing that'll switch into its dual stab is fairies, and then it has blast cannon for that. Like
Yeah,
it's just annoying to switch into.
it has like ridiculous coverage too. More like it has like fire coverage, focus blast, flash cannon, heat wave, like hyper voice, signal beam, like a bunch of coverage that you like. It just randomly has. And U-turn is really good. That's gonna be a key factor in our draft momentum, especially with U-turn. So yeah, man, like it just hits so hard with 125 special attack, and it's not a bad Scarfer. 98 speed is a pretty solid speed tier to be a Scarfer, and it just hits so hard with like dropping Dracos to a Z Draco meter just box everything. So I'm really excited to use this thing again.
Yeah, it has a ton of utility that you wouldn't expect too, like defog, tailwind, taunt, thunderwave, toxic, but like everything gets that. It even has like good physical coverage, like superpower, head smash, stuff like that. So, and its physical attack isn't bad either. It has 105. So like, you can potentially surprise something like a Z head smash.
Oh,
Like
that
a
sounds
strong,
amazing.
like a
Sounds
really
amazing.
bulky flying. You could just like surprise that with like a Z head smash. Like someone may think like a Mandibuzz or something would be a switch in. But since with Z moves, it becomes like so much harder to switch into because it just has like so much coverage.
Yeah, it's really hard
And
to prep for too. Like with
like
it gets really good utility with like taunt T-Wave as well. So it's really good taunt lead if I ever need that. It gets access to roar as well and decent recovery and roost as well. And it's also our first defogger for the draft. So lots of utility and offense that makes this Pokemon just so scary in general.
it has the one bad thing about it is like its best setup is wake up, and it's like loses to like a echoed voice.
Sylveon.
Or wait,
Wait, what? Echoed voice?
is that not the? There's a voice that's fairy type, isn't there?
Disarming
Disarming voice.
voice?
Yeah, yeah. Disarming voice, Rotom, watch out.
Oh, that's just a threat. Alright, so we got Hydreigon now. We got our Celesteela. So I've always wanted to choose our next Mon. Spoiler, it is a Mega. But I've always wanted to use this Mon in general, and it's always getting sniped for me in every single draft I've ever been a part of. It's always getting sniped for me. So introducing Shiva the Destroyer, our Mega Medicham. It hits so hard. 100 base speed is nothing to laugh at with this wall breaker. 100 attack is like pretty solid, but with huge power, or pure power in this case, it doubles its attack. So like, what's a switch into a high jump kick and Zen headbutt, Chess?
Nothing other than like bulky psychics, which still some of them take like 50 after rock. Like, there's a lot of like, the switch-ins, they only switch in like once or twice because they get worn down because it just hits stupidly hard. Like,
Yeah, for sure. It's like ridiculous how hard this thing hits. I'm so excited to use this thing. And it has like really solid coverage as well with like fake out bullet punch with some nice priority. Gets the elemental punches as well. Poison jab and rock slide. So that's gonna be looking pretty dope, man. And like if you run a bulk up set, it can be GG easily. Like if you get a free bulk up because of how hard this thing hits, it can force a lot of things out. So if you set up a bulk up, like your dual stab is just gonna win games in general. I'm gonna be honest.
yeah, like I've literally had this 6-0 people before. It's so crazy to prep for because it hits like so incredibly hard. And it's not like Mega Mawile, which just hits harder. Like it has a good speed tier on top of it.
Yeah, like 100
Like,
speed is like really good for a wall breaker. It's like really good.
because most wall breakers like are usually like around base 80 or so, like Hoopa U.
Garbage.
So like having 100, oh, it's so nice.
It's like so cute. So yeah, man. So Mega Medi is a really good pick. Now Mega Medi and Hydreigon are two primary breakers in our draft. So pairing like spikes and T-spikes, just hazard stack in general, is really nice for both of those. So if you guys don't know, I despise this Mon out of proportion, man. I just hate this Pokemon, but it's looking solid on my team. So introducing Kakashi, this shiny Greninja, our third and final Z move user, and this thing provides me some speed with 122. It's going to be one of the fastest things on our entire draft, and it has lots of utility, which is what I'm probably going to be using this thing for. It gets dual spikes, like spikes and toxic spikes. Gets access to haze, or it does get access to haze. That's not what I meant though. To taunt and like U-turn, like 2 U-turners to get Medi in. That's just insane, man. And tell me how hard Kakashi hits in general.
Like with its mixed offenses, like it may not look like anything's nice for like 95, 103, but like with Z moves and like a life orb, this thing can hit really hard. Especially like it's a really good revenge killer. as well as like a great lead with setting up spikes and stuff, and then you turning out. Like, and its coverage is just stupidly good.
Yeah, its
Like,
coverage is like ridiculous. It's just random moves out of the butt.
like it gets rock slide for no reason. It gets shadow sneak. Like, it has so many random moves.
Yeah,
Like,
and it also
grass
gets
knot,
access to like
Exocentric.
Z gunk shot as well to kill the fairies that Orochimaru doesn't really like in general. And this thing's dual stab is just insane too. It's really hard to switch into unless your name is like Gastrodon. So yeah,
Yeah.
man. So regarding my 5th pick in this draft, I kind of wanted to complete my Fairy Dragon Steel Core. I have Celesteela and Hydreigon as my Steel and Dragon respectively. And I really wanted a Wish Passing Fairy to pair along with Celesteela because Wish Passing Fairies work really nice with Celesteela. And I tried to get Florges, however you pronounce it, but it kind of got taken really early. And to be the complete opposite of that, I took this mon really early, but I feel like it's still worth it. I justify my pick. So we got Aromatisse, Cabaret the Shiny Aromatisse. This thing is a really solid Wish Passer. It's a Cleric with Aromatherapy and Heal Bell. This thing just sits there and Wish Protects all day, and it hits relatively hard with 99 special attack. Nothing exactly wants to take a Moonblast very well, and you can't like sub up on it, which is really important for like a wall like this. It also gets like really cool setup options with like Nasty Plot, Trick Room, and Calm Mind. So we may or may not have to bring some of that. How are you liking Aromatisse on our squad already, Chess?
It's a cleric and a witch passer that can't be daunted, which is always really nice. Like an otherwise kind of passive wall that can't be daunted is always really cool. And the fact that it gets like Trick Room and Nasty Plot means it can actually like do some damage if it needs to. And it has like decent-ish coverage with like Flash Cannon, Energy Ball, Moonblast obviously, Psychic. Like its coverage isn't the worst, but like it has a few niche options. But mainly all this is going to be doing is clicking Wish and then either switching or clicking Protect. Like that's mainly what this thing is going to be doing.
Yeah, man, Cabaret is looking to be a key part of our Fairy Dragon Steel Core. It pairs up really nicely with our Celesteela here, our Apollo 13. So I'm really excited to use this thing. Now, I kind of reread the rules in the middle of this draft, and I had a completely different plan going into this next pick, but I reread the rules about speed passing. So the rules in this league, the WPL, you can speed pass, you can baton pass only speed, or you may baton pass any stat without speed. So what's better than regular Mega Medicham? Speed passing Mega Medicham with Scolipede, man. This thing, our Seppa, our shiny Scolipede, is going to be a key part of just our Mega Medicham being just insane. How are you liking Scolipede on our squad, Chess?
Fast Medicham is like basically impossible to prep for, so it's another spike user, like dual spike user, so more hazard stack. The hazard game is looking really nice, other than like no rocker.
Yeah, for sure. Like 2 hazard stacking options already is like really solid, and just passing into like slower things like Orochimaru isn't that bad. Mega Medicham, those things are just amazing, especially with Mega Medicham. You can pretty much run Adamant Mega Medicham, and that's just like, what's a switch in? Non-existent, that's what it is. And it can also like set up for itself as well with like speed boost and Swords Dance. Hits pretty hard with its like dual stab. Gets access to like Aqua Tail, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and stuff like that. Mega Horn and Poison Jab are going to be hitting so hard after a Swords Dance, and also gets access to Superpower to hit Steel types, which do resist both of its stabs. So yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to using this thing. It can be either like a really utility-oriented set with like spikes and T-spikes, or it can just be a straight-up setup sweeper. And yeah, man, Scolipede has a decent speed tier with 112 as well. So we got our speed tiers forming already with our Greninja, Scolipede, and our Medicham. Now, speaking of speed tiers, I kept that in mind while going into our next pick, and I wanted to get something that was kind of in the middle of Mega Medicham and Scolipede, and I thought a really nice 110 base speed was pretty solid, and we get our first rocker out of this pick. So let's meet Midna, our shiny Dusk Lycanroc. This thing is really good. in my opinion, because it gets a free life orb every single time with Tough Claws, and if you stack a life orb on top of that, it's just going to hit so hard. 110 base speed is really solid. It's one of the greatest speed tiers in my opinion. And 117 attack is just going to get boosted by the Tough Claws. And like stab priority Accelerock is going to be hitting so hard. How much of a threat is Dusk Lycanroc Chess?
It's really good because just SD, Taunt, and Fast Rocks, like, it's a pretty big threat. Because a lot of the time, you don't have great Edgequake responses. Like, unless you have like a Chestnut, which even then it gets Spray Fang. It's really nice. Like, just SD, Drill Run, Stone Edge kind of wrecks a lot of teams.
Yeah,
and
it's really
like
solid priority as well. To handle, priority in general is really good for our wall breakers like Medicham and Hydreigon, just to pick things off that Shiva and Orochimaru don't necessarily want to hit. So like Stab, Tough Claws boosted Accelerock, potentially even a Choice Banded Lycanroc could be really cool. And so with our first rocker being out of the way, I didn't necessarily want our Lycanroc to be pressured into running rocks every single week. So I decided to get our next mon in Gligar. Using some more free points here, Gligar. The main point going into Gligar, Fang here, is I wanted rocks with Defog because we don't have amazing hazard removal other than Defog Hydreigon, which is an unset. So having Defog on Gligar, which is very reliable, is very nice. It like, once you slap an Eviolite on there, it boosts its 105 defense and 65 special defense to really solid heights, and its Ab Earthquakes are going to be hitting pretty hard. And has access to a lot of utility too, like U-Turn, Rocks, Defog of course, like I mentioned, Roost as well, reliable recovery, Taunt as well, can be really solid. So yeah man, it can knock off things as well. This also gets Agility, Baton Pass, so in case we do want Agility and Baton Pass into Shiva or Orochimaru, that could be pretty hype. And immunity from Gligar makes it so that it cannot get poisoned, which is like one of my favorite things about Gligar. How do you feel about Gligar?
It's really fat and it does a lot of stuff. Like, I feel like it hits 4 Moonslap Syndrome pretty hard. Cause like you kind of want U-Turn, you want Defog, you want Roost, you want Rocks, you want Knockoff, but like it's also a good thing because it has so much utility. Like it just has like some of the most utility of any mon. And that's what's so good about it. Like even like Tailwind, it has like Agility SD if you want to like run like a Heat tank set, which like isn't even that bad because it has decent attack at like 75. So if you double that, it can like hit decently hard. It's just really fat, and like unless you have like a Stab Ice move, you're not really gonna one shot this thing.
Yeah, even like Hidden Power Ice isn't gonna do a lot because we do get the boost from Eviolite. My feeling, like Gligar has a lot of utility. Other mons, they just have like random utility that they're never gonna use, like Defog, like Hydreigon, but Gligar is able to use all of that to its advantage, and it's all viable really, so really excited to use all of that. So heading into our next... What was that?
You need to stop sleeping on defensive Hydreigon.
Defensive Hydreigon. What a great set, Chess. This is what I keep it around for. So for our next pick here, we kind of picked Greninja, and if you don't pick another bulky water with Greninja, you are doing something wrong with your draft. So if you recognize this man from the CSLL, we're bringing back Suijin, our Swampert. Brings us a really solid typing as well, because let's say electric types, right? They're forced to either run a Hidden Power Ice or a Hidden Power Grass. And if it runs Hidden Power Ice for like Gligar, it can't really hit Swampert very hard. If it hits Hidden Power Grass for Swampert, it can't really hit Gligar very hard. So having two grounds that both have different like super effective hits, super effective weaknesses rather, it's like really nice. And one of my favorite things about Swampert is that it's able to use Scald and Earthquake to its advantage, because 110 attack and 85 special attack is really solid to run Scald and Earthquake, and it just chips down everything and also gets access to rocks. Our third rock setter on our team, and this is actually going to be our final rock setter for the squad. So we have 3 solid rockers on our squad. And how do you feel about Swampert, Chess?
It's fat. Like, it's just really fat. It has Roar and Rocks and like a decent amount of utility. It even has like refresh if you're doing like a curse set. If you want like curse protect kind of set, you can refresh and get rid of the status. It can it can do a lot of stuff. Like there's some even like offensive sets it can do. Like Bandit Swampert, it's kind of fun. It has just a lot of stuff it can do. Like even Endeavor, if you want to do like some kind of cheese set. It's just it's a really solid mon, especially with Wish Pass support. Like having 2 ground types that share literally no weaknesses is always really good. I think because it really pressures the electrics, like the Thundies and the Cocos. It really pressures those to
Yeah,
like
for sure.
pick what move they want to actually hit you.
And back to what you said about Banded Swampert with like Aqua Tail, Ice Punch, Body Slam, Brick Break, EQ, like Focus Punch, Hammer Arm, like all that coverage is really good. Edgequake is also something not to sleep on, superpower as well. So Banded Swampert is also an option, but it's like really bulky as well. Assault Vest sets are really useful as well. So
You're forgetting Outrage, the best coverage.
oh yeah, Dragon coverage, the best coverage. If you don't have Dragon coverage, what are you doing? So
you just
yeah, leading into our second to last pick here, I kind of wanted an Ice type because an Ice type is always good to have to hit like the Glygars and the Landos of the world. So if you recognize this boy from the DCDL, once again we got the boy Whiteout, our Cryogonal, our championship member. Whiteout is really good here because 105 base speed is really nice to get in between the Lycanroc and the Medicham. And this is going to be finishing off our speed tiers. Our last pick is definitely there, but it's not going to be the key component to our speed tiers. And it gets access to Freeze Dry, which is one of my favorite things in general. Like Pokemon getting Freeze Dry and like Ice Beam, they're not going to hit too hard with 95 special attack. But it also gets access to like Flash Cannon, Knockoff could be pretty interesting. Gets dual screens as well, in case we ever want to do that. It's also really fat on the special end, like 80 HP, 135 special defense. Like you can easily run like Toxic Recover as well, with decent recovery. Now one of the reasons I actually wanted to draft Cryogonal, or Avalugg in this case, was just for a Rapid Spinner, because we're going to be hazard stacking this season, let me tell you, with like Greninja, our Stealth Rockers, and Scolipede. We need some Rapid Spinners because we don't want to defog our own hazards away, even though Cryogonal does get access to defog as well. So, yeah, man, what are your thoughts on Cryogonal on our team?
It's a really like solid special like wall, and it has some like interesting stuff. Like both defog and Rapid Spin is kind of weird. It's kind of cool because like you can't get spin blocks that way, and if like you're not hazard stacking, then usually defog is kind of better. It has like haze too to stop setup. Magic Coat's always good. It just has like a lot of nice like utility, I think. Like
yeah, it's like
it
really
has,
solid
like,
utility.
it even has like hail plus Aurora Veil if you don't want to do like dual screens for some reason. Like if you want the hail chip.
Yeah, for sure. I remember running in the DCDL one of the earlier weeks. Somebody had a Alolan Ninetales in the opposite team, in the opposite draft. I brought like dry Aurora Veil Cryogonal and it worked perfectly. It was amazing. And I remember, and also Cryogonal gets Levitate, which is pretty cool. We have a really solid ground immunity core going, like with our Apollo 13, our Celesteela, our Hydreigon, and our Gligar, and our Cryogonal. Not a lot of things want to click ground spam, which is one of the most scariest things in the world. Now, speaking of ground spam, we also wanted to kind of give Medicham a little boost here, because our draft is kind of centered around Mega Medicham here. We already have Speed Pass for it, so why not have Sticky Webs and a ground resist? So we have Leavanny, smiley face, literally colon, parentheses, for Leavanny here. Gets access to Sticky Webs, and is also a quad, 4 times ground resist. So Zygarde spamming Thousand Arrows on my team is not going to be looking too great with Leavanny around. What are your thoughts on Leavanny fitting in our squad?
Okay. Imagine something here.
Yeah.
SD Baton Pass Gligar into Mega Medicham under webs. What's your check?
Non-existent. That's what it is.
You literally can't counter that unless you have like a Mega Pidgeot, like a faster flying type is the only like way you can offensively check it.
Yeah, like it gets access to like Dual Dance with Agility, Swords Dance, which is like amazing. And Sticky Webs is probably what this thing is gonna be used for. and it's really solid
Yeah.
as well. Like a lot of leads, like a lot of bulky mons underspeed it, because 92 base speed is not bad at all, especially for like a lead. For sticky webs, you basically guarantee getting webs off because you're so fast, unless you have like a faster taunter. But yeah, man, I'm really excited for this draft in general. Out of 1 through 10, what would you rate my draft, Chess?
I think like probably a 9. It's kind of terrifying to prep for. Like, he has webs, Metacham, Hydreigon, and then you also have to like try and break his Celesteela at the same time. It's just kind of like annoying to prep for. Is what it looks like. It's pretty terrifying, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm gonna have so much fun just playing with using this draft in general, similar to the NCL. I just love this draft in general. And I don't know you guys' thoughts. That's English. Your thoughts in the comments below. What would you rate this draft 1 out of 10, and what would you do differently? Now I do have some weaknesses. I only have one rapid spinner, especially for hazard stacking on my team. If I'm gonna do that and I want to get rid of hazards on my side, I kind of need to bring Cryogonal as our only rapid spinner. I may need to bring something like I may need to make a transaction later in the year, but for now, I think my team looks phenomenal. I don't really see any other weaknesses that I have. Do you, Chess?
I think one of the main weaknesses actually is that your best ice resists are Cryogonal and Grin. Like everything else is hit neutrally or super effectively by Ice Beam, and like you have a Gligar and a Hydra, so like I think that could maybe be a problem. No, and a Leavanny, I guess. I could like possibly be a problem, but I think in the long run it'll be fine. Because like Cryogonal will eat like any ice move really easily, and even like Grin can offensively check them with like low kick and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And we forgot our Mega Medi, which can just revenge every ice type ever with like Bullet Punch and High Jump Kick and Drain Punch. So yeah, man, hit that like button if you're excited for your Tampa Bay Buizels to be in the WPL. And again, let me know in the comments below. What would you rate our draft 1 out of 10? Thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me. And like always, have a swell day. Peace.